Greetings fellow traders and welcome to the webinar in which we will introduce to you a new trading method, a new strategy and even a new trading platform. It's a completely different approach to trading that we've ever dealt with before. You won't have a chance to try it out in practice as it's part of the strategic one which is under development, but we should have it completed in a few weeks at most. But it's very interesting, and it's so interesting that we want to show it to you today. And for those of you who have Strategic One license and therefore access to beta test of the new platform, we are going to put together a special webinar so you can test everything out. This method is really interesting. Sydney and Cornell have been doing it for maybe 7 years now and have quite a lot of experience with it. That's why we want to introduce it to you, because we know that this is a good method that brings excellent results. It's a great addition to the portfolio, and it's also something that can work as a pretty good trading system in itself. And what is stock picking? The principle is simple. It's investing in individual stocks. Instead of buying the S&P 500 stock index, like the whole index, you buy just Netflix, Google, and so on. But there are two approaches. You can buy stocks based on fundamental analysis. This is the analysis you know from previous videos. It's looking at the company's books, looking at the business model, and trying to invest in a quality company. Typically, with this analysis, we invest for the long term, for years or decades, for a long investment horizon. Or we can take an automated approach where, on the other hand, we do more short-term trades. The automated method usually works with trades that are several days long, so they are very short, but they give fairly stable results. The whole thing works quite simply. I have a basket of stocks, for example, S&P 500 stock index, and based on some rules, some conditions, I pick 3 to 5 stocks from it. I hold these stocks for a few days, like 3 or 5 days, and then I close them. Usually the exit is in few days or based on a condition, but rarely do the trades last more than 5 days. Then we go back to the beginning and again pick 3 stocks based on algorithm. That's the underlying principle of how this model works. The advantages are that you can build really very specific strategies. The portfolio in this case can be incredibly diversified. For example, you can build strategies to trade exclusively in times of crisis, which is an interesting thing that is more challenging to do at the index level than at a specific stock level. They usually have smaller drawdowns than the index, so they are less risky, plus they can be traded with capital starting at $1,000. And the very principle of this method is proven by decades of experience and testing. It's something that is not new at all, but paradoxically, there are no platforms that can backtest everything well, and certainly no platforms that can trade it. And we decided to develop such a platform. I will talk about that later today. And I will even show you what that platform will look like. And what are the disadvantages of stock picking? The disadvantage is that trades cannot be executed manually because they are executed too frequently for us to be able to execute them manually. There is no platform that can trade them. I mentioned that already. And the analysis itself is also a big challenge, because analyzing 500 stocks is quite an extra problem when we need to analyze it every day, 10 or 5 minutes before the markets close and so on. It's something we need to automatize. And when there's no platform for that, it's really challenging and it's very difficult. But we said in 2017, challenge accepted, that we will make such a platform. It's been quite a long time, some 5 years, but we had to start working on it theoretically first. We had to research strategies, principles, expectations, and it takes a lot of time to develop such a platform from a programming point of view. But the other preparations take much more time. That meant that from the beginning, what we were developing, the strategic one, that you work with in this course, it had to be flexible enough to support those types of strategies as well. That's why it took so long. As of 2021, we are already working on the final part for the analysis and the trading itself. The development will take about a year, but the beta version will be available within the next few weeks at most. And now I will show you several stock picking strategies. Specifically, I will show you 3 strategies, and for the last one, I will show you the principle of how the strategy actually works. This, for example, is a trend strategy with longer trades. And of course, longer trades mean higher potential drawdowns, but less sensitive strategies. Because, just like I said, everything has advantages and also disadvantages. Here you can see that the drawdown was higher by about 30%, but it still wasn't so bold as the whole trend. In 2008, the drawdown was smaller, and you can see that this part is straight, it's flat. So at the peak of that drawdown in 2008, this strategy did not trade at all. And that's the best, because when there is nothing to buy, it is always better to stay aside. And this is advantage of these strategies, because when they're not like the best conditions on the market, they're just calmly waiting aside, doing nothing. This is another strategy that has shorter trades than the one before. It is again a trend strategy that is trying to catch the trend, take a 3-day ride on the stock, catch the trend, and earn some money on it. And again, also here you can see the time where the strategy was waiting aside in 2001, in 2008. So these strategies successfully avoid the crisis on the market. And important thing, these strategies have not significantly higher profits, like 1000% per year, because such strategies just do not exist. 1000% per year is more like gambling and not trading. And guys, we are not in Vegas. Anyway, with these strategies, you can make a profit of 20 to 30% a year, avoid high drawdowns, and keep them at about 15%. And that is a really good ratio for the stock exchange. And what is one very interesting thing is the type of strategies that can complement your portfolios. Like, for example, this one. At first sight, this equity chart may seem a little bit too ragged or cramped, but there are reasons for that. Because this strategy trades only during a crisis, so it's a specific one. And I will tell you exactly how this strategy works. It has a very low exposure, as you can see here. So it is only 4.64% of the time in the trade, which means if we would have 200 trading days per 1 year, this strategy would trade only 9 days. The rest of the time, it stays aside, like I told you before. It's just waiting because there is nothing to do, so it stays aside. And that is why the equity chart looks like this. But the biggest benefit of this strategy is that it makes a profit when there is a crisis on the market. For example, here in the 2008 crisis, it went up. In 2011, it was not so good, but even this can happen and we have to face it. But in 2020, when COVID joined the game, the strategy went up again and it made a really good profit. The strategy uses positions increasing, so it uses the whole available capital, including the profits, and the average annual return is about 18%. If we would use the whole capital without the leverage at the beginning, so with such a simple strategy, which trades only 9 days a year, we would have 18% profit. And that's a very interesting thing, because with such a strategy, you can make your portfolio better, more complex. Because imagine that you have long-term stocks, but when there is a crisis, their price goes down. And of course, you don't mind it because you took it into consideration. But why wouldn't you make your results better with a strategy like this? You know what I mean. Well, and how does this strategy actually works? It's very simple. It doesn't use any leverage. And in the backtest, the deposits are reinvested. So when the strategy makes 100 profit, we open positions of double that size. So we always use the whole capital, including the previous profits. Like, of course, we do not have to trade like this. You don't have to do it. But, it makes sense if you use the capital in the most effective way. Such a strategy is the best as a part of your portfolio for a time of crisis. It has very low exposure, not even 5% of the time. So 9 or 10 days per year. And the principle is very easy. It enters the trade when one single stock drops down by 20% during just one session, so during one day, and at the same time, the stock has to have prices over $5, so its liquidity would be high enough. And daily volumes over 100,000 stocks. And we enter right before the closing of the market. And this is the challenge I talked about before. We have to make analysis for 500 stocks 5 minutes before the market closes, choose where we want to enter, and enter the positions just a second before the closing time. And we exit right after the following open. We take advantage of the fact that if a stock falls 20% in one session, there is a high probability that such a stock will tend to make some sort of move back overnight and perhaps grow back 5% from a 20% drop. And that's exactly what we are trying to take advantage of. A stock price pullback that happens overnight. And you saw in the backtest that it works, that this principle definitely makes sense. Also, money management is quite easy here. We put 20% of capital at a position and we hold a maximum of 5 positions at one time. We never use leverage. I would really like to point this out. Generally, with stock picking strategies, we do not recommend using leverage at all. Considering the size of the drawdown, this is of course offer, like you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, I should use leverage, but we really recommend in general to avoid the leverage. Now let's move to the new platform so you can see how it will look and work. The platform is obviously still in the development phase, so all parts are not quite complete, but we are working on it and I would like to give you a first preview of it. Right now, you're looking at a homepage or dashboard that will appear when you log into the platform. There is a summary of trading and you can see, for example, the number of open positions, pending orders, how many trades have been closed in total, current profit, and so on. There will also be tutorials and test strategies that you will be able to open in the editor and test your trading logic on. There are other sections in the main site menu on the left. There is the classic editor, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's actually the same editor you're used to from Strategy Quant, and only we've added a new option here to test strategies that trade stock picker rules. So it's about trading a block of stocks. And we've extended that editor, and those stock picking strategies will be able to be backtested as well. You will be able to backtest a strategy, see what its historical performance is, and then take the strategy and deploy it to a real account where it will automatically trade for you. You can see also my strategy section where the strategies you have created are saved. You can toggle between them, open them in the editor, or you can click on the lightning bolt icon, which will bring up a dialog where you can fill out a strategy setup dialog and deploy the strategy to your account and let it trade. There are also examples, which were also seen in dashboard, which are basic templates that you can open in the editor and try out on them how the strategy will perform and what results it will have. Now there are the new sections. The first one, Cloud Trader section and Connected Account subsection. These are the accounts where real trading will take place. Initially, there is one account that goes by the name of default. It is a paper account where you can deploy strategies, examine how they trade, whether they do what you expect them to do, and eventually you can deploy strategies to a real account. What I see here is that I have an open account on Alpaca and I have this current balance, equity, and I have 3 positions open here. I'm running strategies that are already trading real. It's a paper account for now because the platform is in the testing phase. So the orders are running real, but they're only trading paper money. It's not trading like a real funds because the platform is not ready for that yet. In the future, we want to add support for RoboMarkets accounts and later also for interactive brokers accounts. Currently, we have Alpaca, which is working very well, and we are doing intensive testing and starting to work on getting support for the mentioned RoboMarkets and interactive brokers up and running. Now we have here trading sections. There are 2 of them. Live trading and paper trading. Now, what is the difference between these 2? Live trading contains strategies, orders, positions, and reports directly for live trading, which are the connected accounts. In our case, it's, for example, Alpaca, where the real account is running and is trading. In contrast, paper trading looks exactly the same, but we deploy strategies here that are only on the paper account. We have our own test broker, so you don't need to set up a real account for initial testing of strategies and that initial development, for example, on Alpaca, but you just need our default account where you can try out strategies on so-called paper where you don't risk anything. And you can see how it all works and kind of play around with it. So in the live trading section, you trade directly, and it doesn't matter if you have an open account with Alpaca with real money or just a paper account, but it just goes through a real broker. As you can see, now I have here 9 strategies open that are active and trading, plus some stopped ones that I want to tweak and change some details, and just verify that they are trading well before I deploy them. You can see here also a summary of what I have opened, that I have a pending order here on the NXPI stock. Then I have open positions here. Currently there are 3 opened and in progress. There's also a trade history where you can see what all trades have been made, where strategy opened the trade, whether it ended in a loss or a profit. You can see the closing type and of course many other useful information that you want to know. There is also an equity tab where you can use the equity chart for the entire portfolio or for individual strategies. So if you want to look at a FinWin strategy, for example, you can see a chart of the trades so far, and you can very quickly see how the strategy is currently doing. The last section is the trading log, where I can see what the last actions were in my account. For example, let's look at this range in April. And we can see exactly which strategy triggered and what actually happened quite in detail. So if you go through that, you can see everything that happened. The paper trading is basically the same. As I said before, these sections are identical. Only in paper trading section, the strategies that are running at the paper broker are shown, and these are like simulations. I can see how the strategies are behaving, whether they are evolving as we want and expect. Then we have here sections that you are used to, like community post, where you can share your strategies if you want. Or also we have here share results section, where you can share results, or you can share the strategy that is successful for you with others. Then there is the profile settings, and now here's also a data manager where you can set up sessions, custom indicators, or stock groups, which are like packages of stocks. We've added the most basic ones here, like Nasdaq, S&P 500, S&P 100. In short, the basic indexes. I would also like to show you how to open a strategy, how to get it into the trading section, and how to actually start on trading. Everything starts in the editor, where you can load the strategy that you generated in Strategy Quant. You saved it to your computer, and now you just find it and load it into the platform by loading it in the editor. So I will try, for example, this one. After just a few seconds, the strategy is loaded into the editor, and later when you click on Run Backtest button, the backtest will be executed and you will get the trading results that you can examine in details, but we are still working on it. However, I can already show you how to save the strategy to my strategies. In the top menu, click on Files, then Save to My Strategies, and you can choose the folder you want to save the strategy to, and you can enter a name and save it. I will choose the name StockPicker 123 and save it. Now, if I switch to My Strategies, the Save Strategy should be visible here. And there is a new strategy created, and it's the one StockPicker 123. And now I have the option to open it in the editor, or download it, or possibly delete it, or deploy it to the account. I click on the lightning bolt icon, choose what type of trading I want, say that I want live trading. Name the strategy, again, StockPicker 123. Choose what instrument I want to trade the strategy on. So if the strategy was generated for S&P 500, I can leave here S&P 500, or I would possibly choose different stock group. Alternatively, you can display your own stock group here, which you can create in the data manager in the stock group section, just where we were a minute ago. Next, I choose the account I want to deploy the strategy to. For live trading, I only have Alpaca here, so the choice is pretty clear. And then I set how I want the strategy to run here. I set the entry and exit triggers here. That is when I want the strategy to open on entry, evaluate the entry signals, and open orders and positions. And when I want it to exit positions or evaluate exit signals. I will keep the standard setting here, so I want the strategy to trigger on open and to evaluate exits on close. Then I can set the money management. Here in the base there is a maximum of 8 positions, and that I want to risk 10% of the account. I will change that to 5 only. Save and check that you agree to the terms. And now I have the choice of whether I want to move the strategy to the trading section as like stop, or whether I want to use the setting and start trading straight away. I'm going to move it as stopped so that I can show you how you can change the status of the strategy to active and actually run it. The strategy should be moved, and let's go to the second page, and here it is. And you see it's topped out, so there's nothing left to do but to start a strategy by clicking at start. Very easy. Now I've already got the pre-filled setup that I've saved before. 5 positions, enter on open, exit on close, check that I agree to terms and conditions, and I can start trading. At this point, the strategy shows up as active. That means it is deployed in my account and it will start trading. The next launch will be at 4:35 our time and exit at 11:05 p.m. If I want to stop the strategy, I click on action and select stop, and I can choose whether I want to close the exiting orders right away or whether I want to leave them and just stop the strategy. It's up to you. You can close those orders or you can keep them open, and you can manually watch them by logging into the platform. I will stop it because I don't have any orders opened. I can see that the strategy is stopped, not active and not executing trades, and I will delete it right away. Okay. Well, and that was a basic overview. I hope you like our platform. We are going to be diligently continuing development, and we are really looking forward to getting everything up and running and giving you the ability to sign up for our new cloud platform. And we've decided to give everyone who gets or already has the full version of Strategy Quant the opportunity for the beta testing of the new stock picking platform, which is this platform that I just showed you. So everybody who has Strategy Quant will be able to participate in that beta testing, which will start in just a few weeks. You will have the unique opportunity to improve it, give us suggestions for improvements, which will make us tweak everything much faster. And of course, the testing will be done on demo accounts, not with real money. You will also get 3 months of the full version of the trading platform for free when we debug it together. Those who bought Strategy Quant X at the start of the Strategy Lab get 6 months as we promised, and the rest of you get 3 months. And likewise, those of you who have Strategy Quant from the past will have 3 months of the full version for free. So everybody will have access to the beta version for free, plus the full version for free for 3 or 6 months, depending on when you purchase your license. We will also prepare a special webinar on stock picking, in which we will explain everything you need to know. And we are also planning to prepare a new course specifically on stock picking, but that will take some time because like every time we want to make it like complex and we want to go into depth quite a lot. Plus, we will give you 3 stock picking strategies that you can start using right away. But again, please, we recommend you start with a demo first to see if it's a good fit, and then you can get into the real trading environment. So you will get strategies, education, and a platform from us, and you will get all of this as a gift with your Strategy Quant license. And I think that's a very nice and fair offer. And there's actually one extra bonus, and it's an important one. And that's that we will help you to choose a broker, set up an account with a broker, and get you up and running. So if you get stuck somewhere, we will be 100% there for you. So that's a total, let's say 5 bonuses you will get from us, so you can test everything out properly. And that is actually all for today. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I hope you like our new platform that we are working on, because that was the main thing today, to show you everything that we are working on it, how it will work. So I really, really hope that you will like it. And of course, in case of any questions, do not hesitate to contact us in the discussion forum in the members section or send us an email. Have a great day and see you soon again.